wander with your first foot forward. I'd like to pause here and ask, who has said this before? And if you have, who said? You find out by the end of my talk. Most of it, we find ourselves evading doing certain things simply because we fear the unknown. It could be you taking up a leadership position, starting a business, speaking in public, or even talking to a certain boy or girl for the first time. Growing up in Ghana as the eldest child of my parents, I always believed I was raised different from my younger siblings. I believe I was raised to have an extra sense of responsibility, awareness, and discipline. Now I admit, I was quite stubborn in my earlier years, always looking to make noise and cause trouble, given that I was unaware of the consequences of my actions at the time. Every time I went out with my parents and misbehaved, the first thing I would note would be the eyes they would give me. Without saying a word, their eyes would tell me, when we get home, I'll deal with you. Knowing very well I was untouchable because we were not at home, I quickly look away and continue my mission. After we leave, the rides home are completely silent until we get home and I hear, go and wait for me in my room. We all know what follows. The blast, the killing, the scolding. You know the rest. And please, if anyone is listening to this taking abuse, please do not. So don't panic. I'm actually grateful to my parents for not sitting back to watch me misbehave. I love them for that. Now, after my father would scold me and leave me to cry a bit, he later on came to me and apologized and asked us to drive out to go and get ice cream from a store nearby. On the drive back home, he'd take his time and let me know how he did not enjoy scolding me, but that he had to in order to correct me. He told me not to misbehave and to behave properly, advising me to be cautious of my actions. Now, though he advised me, I believe he never told me exactly how to do things. And this created room for thoughts that linger in my mind, such as, how do I do things? When do I do things? What happens if things don't go as planned? And this is why I trace my beginnings of establishing my comfort zone. These questions and more linger in my mind each and every time I catch myself thinking of doing something I've never done before. Sometimes my overthinking leads to me not doing things at all. Even at times when people around me feel I'm a good fit for something, I will not do it. Why? Because it meant me stepping outside my comfort zone. It meant me stepping into the unknown. It meant me getting uncomfortable. This reminds me of a time back in senior high school. I attended Fordjuor college, by the way, and it was time to elect student body representatives. At the time, I was into sports, mainly basketball, and my friends and sports coaches encouraged me to go for the role as the sports prefect. I gave it some thought, and before I realized, the questions I shared earlier filled my mind. How am I going to do this? What happens if things don't go as planned? Overseeing the sports activities for this large school, before I realized, timidity took over, and I consequently decided to stay in my comfort zone and not apply for the role. Now what happened was my roommate at the time got the role as the sports prefect. One day, after a big sports event, he came back to the room, and I said to him, "You've been very busy today." He turned to me and said, "Sam, I don't do anything. The sports coaches handle all the work. They make the calls, they organize the events. I just oversee a few activities and show my face here and there." Not that my roommate was lazy or did not enjoy work, but that was all the role entailed. Now you see, without me asking anyone anything, my overthinking led to me exaggerating the position. It made me doubt myself. It made me decide to stay in my comfort zone. Now for some time, and not because of the role, I became unhappy with myself for always shying away from doing things that I believed deep down I could do. It became a cycle. An opportunity presents itself. Deep down I'm interested. I start overthinking. I flee. Another opportunity presents itself. Deep down, I'm interested. I start overthinking. I flee. I was unsatisfied with this cycle I placed myself in as I realized I missed out on multiple opportunities. But all this changed when I became fed up with not trying. I then made an agreement with myself to do the best I could possibly do at whatever new thing I was going to do. And trust me, starting out was not a bed of roses. It comes with L's, losses, but I realized that those L's are actually learning for me to take note of and to try again. Fast forward to my third year at TEDxAshesiUniversity. I was approached by the then aspiring Ashesi student president, Christopher, to join his team as the sports chairperson. Now, what the sports chairperson does is to oversee all sports activities concerning the university, whether internally or externally. This time around, you don't have sports coaches to guide you. It's you and the team, the sports committee. I can't forget the day Christopher came to me. I was sitting at a student hangout spot just outside my room, and Chris came to me and said, "Sam, I want you on my team as the sports chairperson." Immediately, I thought to myself, would someone let Chris know I ran away from a similar position back in high school? But though this thought was on my mind, I was aware of the agreements I made with myself, and without missing a beat, I told him I would do it. He was glad, thanked me, and walked away. Now, as soon as Chris left, I asked myself, "Sam, what did you just agree to?" Rather than me overthinking, I purposed to wander into this new role with my best foot forward. At the end of our term, I believe it's safe to say we did a lot. We ushered in the university field and gym. We introduced the female soccer league that is running to date. The first female vice president of the Ashesi Football Association was elected during our term. We revived sports such as volleyball and table tennis that were at the time seeing very low levels of student participation. I had a ball working with the team, organizing events, and my personal favorite, stepping into the unknown. Now, I can stand here and bore you with the details of what we did, but I'd rather share with you 5 key points that I believe helped me wander with my best foot forward. First is to set out to do the best you can do. Proverbs 4:23 says, "Be careful what you think, because your thoughts run your life." If you think negative thoughts, your outcomes are going to be negative. If you think positive thoughts, you are most likely going to reap positive outcomes. I realized in my situation that by setting out to do the best I could do, my mind started finding ways of excelling. Which leads me to my next point. Seek information. I immediately became aware that I knew the previous sports chairpersons and had their phone numbers. So I called them to find out what they did during their time and how they did it. Whatever it is you want to do, remember that you are not the first person to do it. You can seek information either by reading or speaking to others who have been in a similar position as you are currently in. And my next point is to have a team. Now, here's a photo of a few members of the sports committee back in 2019, and I'm extremely blessed and grateful for all we're able to do. Now, your team need not be this big. It could be one person, it could be 2 or more, depending on you. It could be a close friend, it could be a sibling or siblings, a parent or parents. Someone whose feedback you can trust. Someone who can help you execute your plan. Now, my next point is that you have a plan. Always plan for whatever it is you want to do. My advice to you is not to fly blind. And you can put on your plan either by taking notes of it mentally or by writing it down, depending on what works for you. Last but not the least is to be prepared for the unexpected. Always remember that things don't always go as planned. But bear in mind that things not going as planned is an opportunity for you to take note of, readjust, and go at it again. Me standing in front of you here today is me wondering. I apply these points, and it is my hope that my message is well received. Now, I don't know your beliefs, but one thing that I do know is that you know whether you are doing your best or not. My advice to you when stepping into the unknown is to strive to do the best you possibly can. Leave no stone unturned. Wander with your best foot forward. Thank you.